my name is Radhiyya. I'm a communication science student at Universitas Brawijaya, and through IISMA, I got a chance to learn in the University of Leicester in the UK, studying 3 different modules. The first one is digital media and everyday life, the second one is organizational behavior, and the third one is introduction to management. I first heard about this program through a lecturer of mine where she encouraged me to apply for this program, so I did some information digging about the application process and eventually applied. I had to write an essay about more or less why I wanted to join this program and what I'm gonna do if I get accepted into this program. And then I also had to do an English proficiency test and also ask for a recommendation letter from my university. After passing the first phase of application process, I had to go through the second phase, which is the interview process. It was pretty tough, but it was a fun and fruitful experience for me. And thankfully, after passing all of the application process, I got accepted into this program and I had to prepare for departure. First of all, what I had to do is find my fellow awardees who were assigned to the same university, and then that's where I met the lovely people, my fellow awardees to the University of Leicester. And then I also had to buy stuffs that will help me adjust to living in the host country that I will be going to. For example, I had to buy like winter coats to adjust to the winter season there, and then I also had to do some visa application. I had to book for quarantine hotels, and then I had to apply for the accommodation where I will be staying in Leicester for 3 months. Preparing for departure is somewhat tricky, but everything went smoothly with the help of IISMA committees and also my fellow awardees, so I learned a lot from it. And upon arriving, we were picked up and escorted by bus from the airport to our quarantine hotels, and at first I was worried because I heard a lot of bad experiences from other people regarding their quarantine, but for me it was a really okay experience. It was really great because the room was neat, the service was great, and then the food was delicious, so I had a pleasant 10 days during quarantine. And yeah, and then after finishing my quarantine, I had to go to Leicester. Of course, we were picked up by bus, and my first impression of the city of Leicester is that it's a really cute and small city, but everything is there. And then my first impression when first seeing the University of Leicester, I think it was really cool that there are lots of like tall modern buildings next to like traditional British buildings. So it's like a mix of modern and traditional culture, which is really cool. And there are also these cute marquee bubbles in the Centenary Square. I think it's one of the most iconic spots in the University of Leicester. And after living there for a while, I noticed that there are several cultural differences, although not that significant. For example, is the use of language, because to be frank, I am more familiar with the American English instead of the British English. So there are use of words that I get confused to at the beginning. For example, like when ordering fried potatoes in McDonald's, in American English you would say French fries, but in British English you would say chips. At first it was confusing, but then I got adjusted to it. And then the second one, this might sound insignificant, but it's a popular type of milk that people drink there. It's semi-skimmed milk. I don't think we have those in Indonesia, and it's a really delicious type of milk, and I think it's a part of like the food and beverage culture differences between Indonesia and also England. And about my studies, I first selected the modules based on my interest, and it's actually the first time for me going back to offline classes after almost 2 years of doing online classes, so it was a really fun experience for me. And I think there are several differences in the lecturing style between in Indonesia and the UK. One of the most noticeable is that in the UK there are 3 types of classes that we have to go to. The first one is lecture, in which the lecturer will present to a large number of students in one class about the subject materials. And then the second one is the seminar, in which we were separated into small groups and we had to participate in a discussion, and we have to present our critical thinking and our ideas and be active in the discussion. And then the third one is a workshop, in which we have to develop and do our group projects while being guided by a workshop tutor. I think the difference in Indonesia is that we do all of that stuff in one type of class instead of being separated into 3, and I think being separated into 3 is an effective way to do all of them, so yeah, everything is done more efficiently. And of course, our study is being evaluated there. All of us we had to do an end term test, in which it is same for all of the modules that I take. We had to submit essays in which we had to answer questions that will explore more related to the subject. And then for midterm test, it differs depending on the modules that we take. For example, in Introduction to Management, I had to do a multiple choice test, and in Digital Media and Everyday Life, I had to do a group project and group presentation. And in Organizational Behavior, we don't have a midterm test. And then also, apart from my academic life, I also have some extracurricular and after-class activities. For example, in the more non-formally, I would often converse individually with lecturers and discuss with them relating to the subject about the situations in Indonesia and how we compare the situations with other parts of the world, especially in England. So I get to gain a lot of different perspectives from there, and I think it's really interesting. And then for extracurricular activities, I was joined in female-only gym community, and where I met a lot of cool people with the same interest there, and it was really fun. And I also did some micro-volunteering activities with my fellow IISMA awardees. Through IISMA, I think I gained a lot of benefits there, and a lot of things has affected me in so many different ways. I think one of the most significant thing is about my way of viewing things, because as I've said before, exchanging perspectives and insights with people of different cultural backgrounds is really eye-opening for me. So now I get to see specific issues with different point of view based on what I learned while I was staying there. And then I also gained a lot more confidence, because honestly I did not think that I could socialize with or be friends with people who has different mother language than me, but it turns out everything worked out perfectly, and I gained a lot of new friends and acquaintances. So that's been really, really great. And the most valuable thing for me that I've gained through this whole process is obviously knowledge and also network that will be useful for my future. So, based on my experience, it is safe to say that I'm officially IISMA biased, because through IISMA I get to gain new incredible experiences, and I get to be more confident, and I get to explore myself in a way that I've never done before. And then therefore, I'm really glad to say that I was able to be bold to go abroad.